I decided that doing reading vlogs would be a good idea. Yeah, that's what I thought. So we're starting this week's reading vlog, and I'm reading an ebook. I'm reading Confessions by Kanae Minato. Wow. I'm like halfway through. It's about a female teacher in Japan. I don't even know where exactly. Her 4-year-old daughter died in the pool at that school. All think it's a tragic accident, but she knows that 2 of her students have killed her. So she decides to talk to them, talk to her class, tell them that she's gonna go, she's not gonna come back to that school. She's leaving after the school year is ended, and that she knows that 2 of those boys have done this to her daughter. It's very interesting. It's also very infuriating. I've been reading this and I'm like, half of the time I'm like, what? Like, it's insanely interesting because it's like a very deep dive into people's minds and psychology and also different culture, because I think that that some of those things are probably more of a Japanese thing or Asian thing. Yeah. I have to say I'm so infuriated by the mother of one of those 2 kids who are responsible for the death of that little girl. I'm also very infuriated with the new teacher. I'm like, boy, what's wrong with you? It's very, very deep, very dark. Yesterday I read Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and that was already like a deep dive into people's psychology somehow. And this is up there. Let's see if I can finish this. It's 8:30 p.m. so I probably should finish it because this thing is like 200 pages and I'm like around page 100. So we shall see what happens. I'm excited to do reading vlogs. Seriously, so excited. See you guys once I'm finished, probably. So I finished this one. Confessions by Kanae Minato. It was a hell of a ride. People, I can't even. The thing is, this is written in speeches, I would say, and in blog entries, and also doesn't matter, and also in like diary entries. Now you can see the messy part of my room, like, ignore all of this. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's written from different perspectives. Like we hear from the teacher, she's the first one to talk, then from the two kids who are responsible for the death of her daughter. We also hear from another classmate, basically, and we also hear from two family members of one of those guilty kids. So it's very interestingly written because like the teacher talks to her students, like it's a talk. She's speaking out. She's holding a speech, basically, and all the others are like, I don't even know who those people, who they talk to. Like one of those two kids who are responsible is like reflecting on everything that has happened and why all of this happened. And I'm not quite sure if he writes it down, if this is a diary entry or if he's talking to himself about it or what it is, but yeah, we have like different point of views, and the topic is obviously very, very sensitive. I have to say I was the writing style is therefore very weird, but I'm kind of used to it being weird when we talk about Japanese writers. Like I'm still reading an anthology collection by Haruki Murakami. So he is writing very different as well, I feel like. So I was like, okay, I get the way this woman writes. I was always fascinated by Japan, so I'm very interested in knowing more about this. I obviously can't talk much about the English version. I have read it in German. It's on this app Scribble, which you can it's like script. You can read as many ebooks as you want for like $20 a month, and they have thousands of ebooks. So I read it there. If I could, I would have read the original version like in Japanese, but sadly I don't speak Japanese and I can't read Japanese. What I have to say is this was psychological. It was very clever. It was very interesting. As I said, a bit weird because the writing is a bit weird. It's a bit different. And it's infuriating. And it made me really aggressive at some points. Like some of those characters are just, it's so infuriating. But the thing is, I don't need to like characters to like a book. I don't need to relate to people in a book to make it a 5-star read or a 4-star read. I'm trying to see the work as it is, and if I enjoyed my time somehow. And I definitely enjoyed my time. It was, as I said, very infuriating. I was angry a lot of the times, and I was like slapping some of those characters mentally. Like in my head I was like bam 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 bam. But that's human nature. I'm like, most of the time when I get to meet new people and I get to know them, there's always like one person that I'm like, I want to slap you so badly. So this is nothing new, you know. This is how it is. It's very what is it called? realistic. God, the ring light just kills my eyes. But it's 10 past 10 p.m. so there is no way in hell I can film without the ring light on, so I'm just looking away. Excuse me. Yeah, it was a good read. It was really a very interesting topic, and I found it very interesting how the plot evolved from that first confession from the teacher, and how she accused those 2 kids of killing her daughter, and how it developed from there. And the ending was A+. I know it was filmed, like there's a movie about this or something. At least that's what it says here. I need to watch that for sure, because I bet it's amazing. In general, I find that Japanese stories, no matter what, if you're reading actual books, or if you read mangas, or if you watch animes, or if you watch their commercials, or there's TV shows, movies, whatever, they are always a bit weird. The premise is always a bit different, and sometimes you don't really know what you're getting yourself into. And this is exactly what I was not prepared for that ride. But I'm very happy I decided to finally read this. This was on my to-read list as a book that I wanted to read for such a long time, and I finally did it. So tomorrow we'll be reading a new book. I still don't know what. I have a few books that I'm debating on what I would read. Like, I'm still reading the Mistborn trilogy, but this is like that's a read for like a month. I'm still debating if I wanna read something thrillery, or I wanna read short things at the moment. Like, I'm really into short stuff. Like, that was like the perfect length. That was like almost 200 pages. That was perfect. So maybe I will start reading The Vegetarian by Han Kang, because that is also one that I wanted to read, another book that I wanted to read for a long time. So maybe that will be something that I will do. But yeah, I don't know. We will see tomorrow. For now, I need to get my makeup off my face and change into some sleeping clothes and get comfortable. I was so uncomfortable the whole time. I was like so on the edge of my seat. I was so tense. I feel like literally sore in my entire body because I was like so tense. But it was a good read. I highly recommend. I'll see you guys tomorrow probably. So today is Saturday, and I'm gonna pick another book of the books that I'm like very curious to read, and I'm gonna go with The Vegetarian by Han Kang. This is a 136 ebook pages long book. So I'm curious to see. I read a lot of very positive but also very negative things. It's not obviously, it's supposed to be, I heard that much, that it's supposed to be about mental illness, and that's always something that I'm interested in. So I'm gonna just start, and I will check back in if I have thoughts. Sounds good. I will see you guys in an hour or so. I finished this, The Vegetarian by Han Kang. So this book is about this is like Korea, place in Korea, and we follow a woman who decides one day, like she's average in any possible way. She doesn't look best, she isn't super smart, she's totally average. And one day she decides she doesn't want to eat meat anymore, and she also doesn't want to eat anything that is like from animals. So she's not a vegetarian but a vegan, but that's just a minor point there. So she decides she is a vegetarian or a vegan. Probably a vegan. Her husband is pretty damn annoyed with her because she isn't cooking for him anymore, like meat. He has to eat vegetarian stuff, which is obviously awful for him. Poor guy. Hint hint, this was sarcasm. Poor guy has to eat meat-free. This woman loses a lot of weight, she stops sleeping, she is like a shadow of herself, basically. A shell of the woman she once was. We get to meet her family and how they try to to convince her of eating normally again and being normal again, because she obviously has something going on. Something is going on in her brain, and the thing is, it's a very disturbing story, it's a very traumatic story. It's about mental illness, it's about society, it's a lot about family and family dynamics. It's especially about oppression and how females are still oppressed by men and by their elders in some societies. This woman gets a lot of hate for not eating meat and not for cooking for her husband, because that's very important, obviously. I mean, it plays in Korea. What do we expect, right? But it's definitely very eye-opening and very disturbing, to say the least. I really felt for her. She always tells, when people ask her why she isn't eating meat anymore, she tells them that she had those dreams, and we get to read about the dream and what happens there, and I feel like something triggered her in some way, and she stopped eating anything that has to do with animals, with other lives, you know. And I find the other perspectives, like the perspective of her husband and her father and her mother and her sisters and brother-in-laws and whatnot. It's very, oppressing. It's very, very difficult really to read that, because it makes you feel like you want to change something. Because it's really, really sad, to be honest, like how they treat her and how they feel they have a right to decide for her. And then there is the thing about mental health and mental illness. Obviously, there is something going on in her brain. There is something going wrong with her because she doesn't sleep. Like, the not eating meat is one thing, but there are a lot of things she changes her mind about. Like, she isn't sleeping, she is not she's changing her behavior in a weird way, and you know that something is off. And reading about that and how family and also later on doctors and nurses and whatnot, how they react to it, how they respond to it, how they try to treat it, is alarming and very saddening, frustrating, shocking. This is a beautiful book about mental illness, about oppression, about one thing that always irks me is the fact that people feel like they are allowed to manhandle or like decide for people who have mental health issues. And this is like the perfect example of it. This discusses basically the fact that this woman has a mental health issue, but she is her own person, she is an adult. She's allowed to decide for herself. And this book is basically a fight between that woman and her family, her husband, the society, the dogs, everyone in this book, basically trying to tell her what is right for her and what she should do, while she is asking the question, what is wrong with it? Like, what is wrong with me not wanting to do all of this? And that's the very sensitive subject and very sensitive topic, and something that should be discussed more, for sure, because a lot of people that have mental health issues feel like they are treated like children because other people decide for them, and that's sad, and it shouldn't be like that. Of course, there are situations you shouldn't let someone with mental health issues, I don't know, with Alzheimer, decide stuff, but this is like a very sensitive topic, and you can't just say, okay, this person is mentally ill, she's schizophrenic, or she is bipolar, or she is whatnot, I will decide for her. That's just not right, and this is exactly what this book is basically telling people. Like, she tries to decide for herself, to be herself, to do the things she wants to do and don't do what she doesn't want to do, you know. But everyone else seems so inclined to have an opinion on that, and that's not okay. It was very, very interesting, a very interesting read. While it's a quick read, because it's not even 150 pages, it's also a slow read, because you have to be very focused on it to understand everything and to like take the entire picture in and get all the information you need to have a valid opinion on it. Because otherwise, if you like don't read everything and there are things you're missing, maybe you decide you have an opinion you wouldn't have if you would have read it very carefully. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good read. I'm very fascinated by this book, I have to say. I really loved Confessions, which I read yesterday, but I think this one is even a tiny bit better. There are some infuriating things. If you're very sensible to like domestic violence and violence in families and stuff like that, you shouldn't probably read this, because there are a few mentions of that, and it really brings things into perspective if you read it and you notice those things and you're like, yeah, I'm not shocked about the outcome, I guess. So that's my thoughts on this book. It's a very interesting book, I have to say. Next book I want to read is Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon Maguire, because Books and Lala, Kayla, is really in love with this, and I really want to know what this is all about. So this is a series as far as I know. So every heart a doorway, then down among the sticks and bones, beneath the sugar sky, and in an absent dream. It's supposed to be something like Narnia or something like that. A mini masterpiece of portal fantasy, a jewel of book that deserves to be shelved with the Lewis Carroll and C.S. Lewis classics. So Lewis Carroll is the writer of Alice, and C.S. Lewis is the writer of Narnia. So yes, I'm gonna try to read that one. This is actually the English edition. They have the English ebook on Schoolbus, so it's also a short one, and Kayla said it's one of her favorites. So I'm very excited, because we usually agree on a lot. We also disagree on some things, but we agree on a lot. So Kayla, I'm gonna read what you suggest. Maybe I should do that. Like, read stuff that Kayla suggested. It could be a fun reading week. Maybe we will do this next week. A reading week, reading vlog, week 2, Kayla edition. Would be cool. I will talk to you guys when I'm either finished with that book, or like when I have something very important to say in the middle of reading it. I see you guys right for you in a second, for me in a few hours. Peace. It's the end of the night for me. I have started reading, what are you called? Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon Maguire. And so far so good. I'm like halfway through. the book, it's like a very short book. It's like 120 pages. So this book is certainly different. It's about a boarding school where this woman, Eleanor West, I think she's called, accepts people, children, young adults, teenagers between 12 and 19 or something. I think 19. To stay there if they were different, basically. Like, parents would consider this boarding school when their children were like acting differently, like acting off, and when they were like this, like they disappeared for some reason. And yeah, she accepts people there, and we follow Nancy, who is new to this boarding school, and she is she has been gone for a while, and we get to know that those children, those teenagers, weren't just like kidnapped or something. They were in another world, because children can find doors, stairs, whatever, to other worlds and go there. Some children never return, and some come back or are like thrown out of that world, you know. And Nancy has been to the underworld or something like that, and there was the Lord of the Dead, and she wants to go back so badly, and now she's at the place in this boarding school, and she has this very charismatic, very strange and weird roommate. It's called Sumi, and we're like getting to know all about those different worlds and how they work, and we get to know a lot of characters who live there in this boarding school, and it's very, very entertaining. It's very interesting. It's like, it's magical, but like on a very low level of magical, because like we're talking about them in the real world. They talk about all the experiences that they had in those other worlds, but we only get to know them in our world. So it's like there is magic, but only when they talk about it. There's nothing magical happening there. So it's interesting, definitely. It's written so interesting. Like, the writing style is very different. I like it. I think it's very easy to read, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to continue tomorrow. When I said that I would probably start this book, I was watching Britt Clark's live stream after that, and then I had dinner, and then I was like watching a few YouTube videos and stuff. I watched like TBRs for August from other people, and I was like, okay, maybe I should read now. And then I started reading it. I'm like halfway through, as I said, so it's not a long book. I should finish it like first thing in the morning tomorrow. I don't have much left because, as I said, it's a very short book, but it's a very interesting one. It's It's late now. It's like late. It's 11 p.m. but I'm super tired. It's way too hot here today and I'm so insanely tired. So I'm just gonna stop reading, change into another shirt because this shirt is great for a video to not look like I'm running around naked at home. But then once the camera's off, I'm definitely wearing less clothes. Because while this is super comfy and like very nice material, it's slightly too thick and warm for sleeping in it. The more you know, you know. Like, too much information, Judy, I know. I'm kind of enjoying like doing this reading vlog. Like, I can say stuff like this in the middle and just be like, yeah. So we're gonna see each other tomorrow for the next update. I'm not quite sure what I want to read after that, but I know that I could probably continue the series. But I also, maybe we can talk about that. I have bought some ebooks. I have bought of Curses and Kisses by Sandhya Menon because that sounded interesting. I also bought Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I really liked, what is this? I really liked Poet X. I think it was called Poet X, right? Then by Adrian Tchaikovsky, The Children of Time. I heard Emily Fox rave about this book, so I bought that one. I also bought Because of Her To Be Taught and Fortunate by Becky Chambers. It's a novella, so it wasn't that expensive, so it's great. Like, just like Wicked Fox by Kat Cho, that was like $150 or something in the App Store, so I was like, okay, fine, I'm buying it. Also bought Anna K by Jenny Lee because I do like me some Anna Karenina. I bought Burn Our Bodies Down by Rory Power because I'm kind of in the mood for such books. With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. Bunny by Mona Award. Dark Sky by Bernd Stör. I think this is a German author. It sounds like it by the name. I also bought The Anti-Virginity Pact by Katie Wismer, who is a booktuber. Kate's Book Date. And then I downloaded 4 classics: Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, Alice in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll, Emilia Galotti by Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, and I also downloaded Effie Breeze by Theodor Fontane, which is a book I already read. Like, I had to read that in high school, so yeah, not that interesting, but I mean, I have Scuba and I have Script and I'm still buying ebooks. And I know that I will get books for my birthday. I'm like turning 30 on the 20th of August. And I made a list of books that I really, really want. So I'm getting those. And I also bought those books. What I also recently bought was Girls of Paper and Fire and Girls of Storm and Shadow, that I also bought like recently. other than that, I have a lot of like old books here. So what do I have on my Kindle? Here, The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. I have it here. Do I have anything interesting here? No, not anymore. Like, I don't have much on my Kindle app anymore. Like, I'm not buying much on Amazon anymore. I'm like buying through the App Store. So yeah, that was the update. And I will just finally go to bed because I'm super tired. I was grocery shopping earlier today, obviously, like in the morning, and I'm still tired because of that, because like shopping with the mask on it, it's like almost 40 degrees Celsius here, and I do that on foot because I don't have a driver's license, and I had to like do that on foot and carry all the things, and it was hot and sunny, and I was like, please let me die. So yeah, I'm super tired. I'm going to bed now, and we will talk to each other tomorrow when I finish reading Every Heart a Doorway, something like that. Shannon McGuire, you know what I mean. I'll see you tomorrow. I finished Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. I already marked the second part, the second book in the series as a to read, but I'm not gonna read it right away because I have 2 other books that I'm super curious about that I want to read first. So let's talk about Every Heart a Doorway. Every Heart a Doorway, as I already talked about yesterday, is a book about teenagers who have been to different other worlds that have doors and pathways in our real world, and they have been there and they struggle to acclimate back home. Most of them want to go back. They are located at this boarding school that is run by Eleanor West, and she tries to teach them how to live their lives back home, but also she tries to somehow explain their parents if they find a way back to those places they have been. And we follow Nancy, who is new there. She has been to a world that was like about the undead, and her roommate Sumi is found dead one day, and it's a murder mystery and a fantasy and a boarding school and everything interesting. I need to exchange the battery. I'll be right back. New battery. Back to what I was talking about. So her roommate Sumi is found dead one day, and there is, as I said, a murder mystery. There is the boarding school element. There is fantasy elements. There is like a bit of everything. It's quite interesting. Also very nonsensical. Like, some of those people have been to worlds that mash up the brain or something because they are talking smack all the time. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand a word, but it's in character. That's exactly what they're supposed to be, so I understand. The ending was very, very satisfying, so I'm not feeling inclined to go to the second book right away. It's not like there is a bad cliffhanger or anything. I think it's very well done. It's a cute little book, but also dark and mysterious, and is perfect in all the right places, basically. What I also wanted to mention, I finished my audiobook the other day. I forgot to mention it. I was listening to it before bed and finished it before I fell asleep. And I just forgot to mention it. It was Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, which is a non-fiction. I'm very, very pleased with that book. I feel like it's a very great book for people who want to live a more creative life, and she explains a lot about creativity and how she feels creativity is born, basically, and that we all can be creative in our own ways. And I found it very, very interesting, and I really liked it. So yeah, the next two books that I want to read, but this will probably be the one that I will start with, is, wait a second, this is To Be Taught a Fortunate. This is written by, I don't know what I did here, To Be Taught a Fortunate, by Becky Chambers, who also wrote The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, which I will be getting for my birthday. I know that for a fact, and I'm very excited. So I wanted to get to know her writing, and this is a novella. This is like 144 pages as an ebook. Yes, I read a lot of ebooks, by the way, because my bookshelf is, I have just this tiny little one behind me, and it's always like full, and I can't just pack any more into it, and I'm getting like 14 new printed books, and I need to save space, you know. So I love to read ebooks. I love to read from my library, from Script, from Scobo. I love to listen to audiobooks on BookBeat and on Script, so just so you know. So this is my plan for today. I also am very excited to read this one. This is The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which is a middle grade, and it's supposed to be very, very good. I have heard a lot of beautiful things about this, especially from Reagan, Paris Project. I really enjoy her videos. I think she has an impeccable taste in books. So yeah, I'm very excited. It has 336 pages here on Script, and yeah, but I will probably start with the To Be Taught a Fortunate. So very excited. Also, I will do some cooking today. I haven't cooked yesterday and the day before, but the day before that, like Thursday or something, I did like a casserole, a Big Mac casserole it was called. I found the recipe online and it was delicious, and it was basically almost carb free because it was a casserole. There was a lot of cheese, but it was carb free. Today I'm doing a burrito bowl. It's called burrito bowl. on the internet page, and I'm very excited to see if this will be good or not. So I will see you guys sometime later. Maybe after dinner, maybe not. Maybe we'll see each other tomorrow. I don't really know, but I think I will try reading at least the Becky Chambers novella today. Finishing 2 books in a day seems like such a weird thing, but Every Heart a Doorway was very short, and that novella is very short, so it's possible. It's possible. I will see you guys later. Bye. Bye? Julie, what's wrong with you? Say hello to Speedy. Speedy is my sloth, and he gained the name Speedy because in Zoomania or Zootopia or whatever the movie is called, the sloth is called Flash, so I thought this could be his brother, Speedy. Speedy is the love of my life. And Speedy and I want to talk about the novella by Becky Chambers, To Be Taught If Fortunate. It took me a lot longer to read that than to read every other book I have read recently, because I'm just not used to read sci-fi in English. But I managed. It took just a bit longer. And I absolutely understand how Emily Fox said that this was a wholesome sci-fi, because that's exactly how I feel too. Like, it's a very idyllic almost, and very slow and wholesome. It's a very interesting story. I've found it very entertaining, interesting. I found the characters were amazing. We have 4 characters, 1 protagonist obviously, but 4 characters, and it's about those 4 characters who are on missions to go to different planets and moons and whatnot. And and they are going from and they are following their mission, and we get to know different surroundings, different planets, what they are doing, how they work, their interactions with one another. And I think this is a very slow and very steady book, novella. It's very pleasant, and the interactions and the relationships of the astronauts, for the lack of word. I know that she is a scientist and not an astronaut, like our protagonist, who's called Ariadne. And their work and what they do every day, and it's a slice of life, but in space. That's cool. I was very, very happy to read this. And Speedy is also very happy that I read it. Right? So that I have finished 2. I think I will start reading The Girl Who Drank the Moon next, because I kind of feel like it. I haven't read a middle grade in a long time. I don't even remember when I read the last middle grade story. Long time ago. So I'm very excited to read that, but I will see you guys tomorrow talking about this because I definitely need sleep. For sure. By the way, that burrito bowl that I made, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. It was amazing. I was so... whoa. Whoa. Didn't expect this. But it was hella amazing. See you tomorrow. Say goodnight, Speedy. I started reading The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. And so far so good. I'm like only like 40 pages in, but it sounds like a pretty good story. The writing is nice. I like the characters so far. It's about a girl. It's about a town that is close to a forest, and the people there sacrifice the youngest child in that village to the forest witch each year to protect the city from that witch. What they don't know is that that witch actually exists. Like, the elders sacrifice the children just to keep the town people quiet, basically. And what they don't know is that the witch actually exists, and she always takes care of the babies and then finds new places for them to live at the other side of the forest, basically. This time, this little baby girl, this little baby girl, she actually drinks the moon, the light of the moon, which makes her magical, so she can't stay with a normal family. So the witch decides to take care of her, take her in, and yeah, foster her. It sounds like a very, very great premise, and I'm very excited to see where it's leading to. Excited. But now I really need to nap because my head hurts like crazy. I will take off my makeup because when I nap, I usually like to lay on my face like this, and that's not working with the makeup on. So if we see each other again today, it will be barefaced. I'll see you later. Hi. What's up? I'm in a terribly good mood because I finished The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. There. It's I mean, I told you in the clip before what it is about. Let's just talk about how I think it was and how I liked it and stuff like that. So it is a middle grade fantasy, and I have to say it was so charming. It was so charming. It was so sweet. It had like dark moments because there is a villain. There are actually two villains in this. To me there are two villains, and I disliked both of them with my entire heart and soul. I was very, very happy when the end arrived, and you know what happens with villains in middle grade books and children books, you know, like, I'm just saying. I really thought the story was charming. I loved the characters so much. There were amazing perspectives. It was multi-perspective. We have different point of views. We have our little girl Luna, we have her grandmother Xan or whatever. We have a little dragon and a monster that lives in a swamp. And there is a boy that lives in the town the girl is from, and he's a good guy and I really like him, and I think that he's a blessing. He really is a blessing. Like, he's nothing like his grandfather or uncle. No, it's uncle. It's his uncle. And I think it's a very interesting book, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the magic. I loved Luna. She was such a pleasure to read about, and I was always having Luna Lovegood in mind, but with black hair, because her mother was black haired here, so I was like, she's probably black haired, dark eyed and stuff. I'm not even sure if it was described or not. She was probably just as charming as Luna Lovegood. Because she was really cute and really sweet, and I loved her interactions with the dragon, with the monster, with her grandmother, like the witch who took her in. She calls her grandmother. I just loved everything about this. Everything. There was not a tiny little thing that I disliked, and that means something, because I can be very bitchy about books a lot. But this was a beautiful middle grade. It really made me smile. I really had a good time. And I enjoyed myself. So that was a 5-star read for me. Like, I really do like this story, and I'm very happy I read it. Let's check what we will read next, because I have no idea. I would love to read something like no. You know what? I was thinking about reading like something fluffy and cute. But let's read All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, which is a thriller. And I am interested in reading that one. So let's just go with that one, and let's go with something fluffy as well. I like to read multiple things. Stomach ache. What do we have? Oh no, I know what I want. No, Yes, Crazy Rich Asians. I bought the bundle. Where is it? There. I bought the bundle with all 3 books, and I want to read Crazy Rich Asians, the first novel by Kevin Kwan. So that will be what I will be reading, and we will talk to each other tomorrow. Bye. I'm currently reading, let's see, All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda, I think. Are you called that? Uh-oh. Yes. Megan Miranda. I'm on page 110 of 400 on Script. This is a story. Can I have the summary, please? Okay, I found the summary. Jesus Christ, this looks like a witchy video. The thing behind me. It's been 10 years since Nicolette Farrell left her rural hometown after her best friend Corinne disappeared from Cooley Ridge without a trace. Back again to tie up loose ends and care for her ailing father, Nick is soon plunged into a shocking drama that reawakens Corinne's case and breaks open old wounds long since stitched. The decade-old investigation focused on Nick, her brother Daniel, boyfriend Tyler, and Corinne's boyfriend Jackson. Since then, only Nick has left Cooley Ridge. Daniel and his wife Laura are expecting a baby. Jackson works at the town bar, and Tyler is dating Annalise Carter, Nick's younger neighbor, and the group's alibi the night Corinne disappeared. Then, within days of Nick's return, Annalise goes missing. And the thing is, this book is told backwards, like day 15 to day 1. From the time Annalise goes missing, Nick works to unravel the truth about her younger neighbor's disappearance, revealing shocking truths about her friends, her family, and what really happened to Corinne that night 10 years ago. So far, I have to say that I'm okay with the writing style. I'm okay with it. Like, at first, we are like in actual time, we are going forward in time, and then the day Annalise goes missing is basically not told, and we start from day 15 then, like backwards. We're going from day 15 backwards to the day Annalise is disappearing. And yeah, the writing is fine. Like I said, the it going backwards, I don't mind it. I don't think it does intrigue me more than it should. Like, I think that the writing style and this time frame, like going backwards, is the thing that should like intrigue me a lot more than it does. But yeah, it's fine. I'm okay with it. Basically, it's nothing I favor. I'm not like waiting to see other authors do that as well. It's fine. The writing style is fine, as I said. The characters are so far not annoying the heck out of me, which is a plus, because sometimes that can happen and then I get really annoyed. Like, I'm okay with not with characters that I can't relate to and that are stupid and that are like not relatable at all and stuff like that. I'm okay with that. The thing is, when the story isn't interesting, the writing style is idiotic, the premise is cool, but you see the like the bad things in it. You finally you recognize that somehow it's not the way you want it to be, you know. And then if then the characters are not relatable or sympathetic or something, then it's bad. For now, I can be, it's okay. It's like in every aspect that I could like rate a book, all of them are like average. Like the writing style is average, the characters are average, the idea, the premise is interesting. Of course, that backwards thing is interesting for sure. So that is like above average. But the rest is like also the setting and everything, you know? Like everything this book is about, like all the things that work together to create this book, all of that is average. What I was thinking like only a few pages ago, and I was like, I need to tell you that, because like sometimes you get those ideas, you're like, this reminds me of something, or you know, and you're like, I need to get that out. When Nicolette, our protagonist, describes Corinne, her ex-best friend who went missing, I was so like, this so sounds like Pretty Little Liars, you know, like with Ellie, like that's just a year later, this is like 10 years later, which makes a difference. But when they were like, Ellie is missing, and they were talking about Ellie and how she was, and that she wasn't like the nicest person, plot twist. And now we're talking about, like Nick is talking about Corinne, and you realize she wasn't the nicest person. Shocker. I was like, this seems to be like a big trope in missing girls, like when girls are missing and the best friends stick around and they investigate what happened, it seems to be like the best friend who is missing is usually a problematic character in some way. I don't know how problematic she is, because there were only a few examples, but it was like, okay, you don't seem nice, girl, what's wrong with you? So yeah, I'm very, very interested in continuing to read this. I am pretty confident in finishing this today. I've been on a kick, like reading one book a day. So yeah, this is a bit longer though. And then if I don't come to talk to you guys tonight, because it will be too late or something, I will definitely start reading Crazy Rich Asians after that, because I feel like I need something chick-litty, something humorous, something I can laugh loud out reading, because at this point in time I'm like, my energy is drained a bit, because I have read so much like high stakes or very weird or very like Confessions and The Vegetarian. That really, those books really exhausted me. They were so densely packed and so interesting and so intriguing and so infuriating in so many ways, and I need something chill. Like right now I would be on vacation in like on Mallorca and on the beach, and I would read something beachy, you know, like chick lady. So I should read something like that. So I will definitely check back with you later tonight or tomorrow to tell you my final thoughts on Megan Miranda. I also need to do like a recent reads. I mean, I'm doing this reading vlog, but I need to like formulate my full opinions on several books because I have read quite a few right now, and I said I would wrap things up if I had a couple. A few. So yeah, I will talk to you later. I have finished All the Missing Girls yesterday, and yeah, we need to talk about that. I thought that was a very interesting book. It was definitely very different from the craft perspective, like going back in time. The thing with that was it made it less readable. Like, it was very difficult to, like, you got into the chapter and you were like, okay, finally understand where this is going and what happened after that, and I know how this is going to go. And then there was a stop and you got the day before and you were like, okay, I have to figure it out once again. And it was a bit tedious. It took me longer than it should have. The characters were okay. I think it was a bit too easy. Like, the solution at the end, like this, how actually everything played out and everything, it was very basic, which isn't the worst thing. Like, sometimes authors are like, we're making it so complicated that you're like, yes, I could never imagine that to happen, because how could you? This was something that you could have imagined to happen, which isn't always a bad thing, as I said. I wasn't overly impressed. I wasn't overly enjoying myself. It was just an average read, but not a bad one. It's definitely more of a 3-star than a 2-star, so I gave it a 3-star. I'm definitely making a pause on murder mysteries and stuff like that because I need something fun to read, and I told you guys that I would read Kevin Kwan's Crazy Rich Asians because I need a good laugh and I need to be entertained. So that's what's happening. I will talk to you guys once I'm like a bit into that read. For now, I'm still editing stuff and watching some YouTube videos because I need to catch up. But yeah, that's for me for now. I will see you guys later once I have started reading. Peace, people. I just wanted to say I'm gonna wrap this reading vlog up because I'm pretty sure that I won't be able to read today anything. Like, I started Crazy Rich Asians yesterday. I just read like 20 pages or something, and I'm super tired today. I managed to make this look, and now I feel like so drained. I've been up till 4 a.m. because Britt Clark had a live stream, and now I'm like, I'm seriously dead. I feel dead. So I'm just gonna wrap this reading vlog up because I'm pretty sure I won't do any major damage on that book. So, but the reading week was pretty damn good. Like 6 books, I think. So that's a good week. I will go back to reading vlogs tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog. I don't know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about books. The moment I read it, it was quite the enjoyment. Next week we will have something a bit different once I'm done with Crazy Rich Asians. I will tell you in that reading vlog though, so yeah. I'll see you in the next video. You'll stay safe and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.